Yeah, and I don't know, slotting in mid Tiny right now does feel a little bit difficult, and
Mm,
that is, I think, the first Slark pick of the tournament. We've seen Slark as an actual ban many times, usually just to defend the Batrider pickup, but versus Medusa, fairly interesting. And of course, once you get the Aghanim Shard, once you put the Depth Shroud down, even if you do get stunned or stoned along with your allies, you just immediately put it down, stop any damage coming through. Does not help you in the slightest versus Techies and Tiny, and that's something that 5 are going to have to be incredibly careful of when it comes to DNM, because we've seen Techies versus Slark in the tournament, and you get popped, even if you get all of the healing down, even if you're sitting there in your depth shroud, in your dark pact, you can still just die to Techies. He does so much damage that just ignores your hero. I feel like that's where they've got to be really careful on these side lanes. And you are also picking Slark into Primal Beast, which of course on paper sounds fine for Slark. You leap away when he tries to go on you. You get Essence Shift. You can't really trade with the Primal Beast. But if he gets in front of you, if he blocks the pounce, if he just gets that movement speed advantage, I feel like this lane can go 50-50 real quick. This is not a hero that they've picked for DNM in the past before as well, where I feel like DNM just wins the lane by just being DNM. I think this is a lane that he's going to have to work a little bit harder to find that same success.
mm. We'll have to see how that plays out. We'll see what the Crystal Maiden sort of does here as well in terms of playing up aggressively in the lane. Try and make that particular matchup a little bit better for DNM. We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, one final ban per squad here. Wolf team still looking to that offlane position. They took the Visage out already, and at this point, looking at the 5 rat lineup, BT, there is not a lot of durability here, so just looking at someone ban-wise out of Wolf team that could maybe give them that durability, right? I think the Beastmaster's still in terms of a ban. The Mars is still there too. Just don't want to give 5 rat that guy who could just stand on the front line and create the wall that Slark and Lena can then operate around.
Yeah, and knowing speed, you can never forget about the Nature's Prophet, even though I don't think we're going to see it this time around. But
Hmm.
yeah, I am surprised that they go for the Slark, what feels like a rush pick, as opposed to the Visage, because that would have also been, I think, a very good choice. And of course, if they do go for Beastmaster, saw Beastmaster versus Medusa the other day. It's fine, but Medusa is picked up as a counter to the Beastmaster typically in the lane, so it feels like that might not be what Speed wants to put himself into. But that's also where the Necro ban is fairly interesting out of 5 Ride. Just saying, well, Wolf Team, they've got a little bit of flexibility if they really need to. They could put the Primal Beast mid versus the Lena. They put the Tiny, I don't know, as the 4, and then you put Techie's 5, and then you pick up a new hero to maybe shut out the Slark just a little bit harder, depending on how badly they think that Primal Beast lane is going to go. And well, Wolf Team, what do you think? How bad is that actual lane? Because in their next pick, we'll have to see how confident or unconfident they actually are in this hero. I think Primal Beast versus Slark does lose to Slark, but I think Primal Beast Techies versus Slark probably just gets a little bit closer with how much Magic Burst that lane inherently has. But of course, that's just the opinions of a scrub, you know? We'll see if that's what they actually think. Because again, this does matter quite a bit. They don't want to lose. A 1-1 split would help Wolf Team so immensely, as well as I think kind of spoiling 5 Rat a little bit. That ends up with them tied with actually SG here.
Hmm.
They go with Disruptor.
Okay. So
Huh.
looking like it is going to be the Tiny mid in that instance. So they'll run Tiny versus Lena, and I guess in this scenario, the Disruptor is the 5, the Techies is the 4. So that is a bit of an interesting scenario. The Disruptor in the safe lane is always an annoying hero to deal with, right? The ability to just keep on spamming out your Q over and over again is going to put whoever they pick into a bad way, as they very nearly run out of time, ET. But they do eventually decide upon probably the most boring and standard option they had available to them in the Beastmaster, but it's stable.
Yeah, no, it's very stable. Maybe concedes a little bit of the lane to HFN, but I think more importantly, gives them somebody who either buys Helm of the Overlord or Wraith Pact, lets them get to Roche. It gives them that
Mm.
agency that we keep on talking about is so important for a lot of these teams. It's just kind of free. But again, there is that question mark that now we'll have to see how that Primal Beast lane actually plays out. And the Slark did get a little bit countered here in the final phase. Disruptor, of course, just puts another spell on the ground that DNM is not going to be able to deal with. And there are quite a few of those in this game. This is a pretty hard Slark game, but again, that's where you just have to hope that DNM's going to keep his head down. Again, not something we've seen from DNM so far. This is more of a stressful position than I think he's been in thus far in the tournament. But you've got some things to play for here. And you've got CM, who we keep on talking about, is one of the strongest fives in the meta right now. Is going to make his lane just feel a little bit easier. And of course, level 2 has so much kill potential. And we get to see CM play out versus Primal Beast, as we've said quite a few times now, that it does feel like the answer, where every single time that trample comes through, you frostbite, you walk away. Simple as that.
Yeah, just an immediate sort of shutdown kind of hero in the Crystal Maiden. And, well, it is nice, right, that the CM sort of coming back into favor. I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't view her as the most exciting, but her kit is a little bit boring in and of itself. It's just when you can use it in these matchups that makes for mechanical plays that get a little bit nicer to watch if you can sort of pull them off consistently. And AB1, definitely a player who is going to have the mechanical skill to hit that just about every single time. So we'll see what King RD does in the lane, if he just decides to back off from the aggression at all and save his mana, or if he just tests AB1's reaction time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a question, and of course, the techies, the wild card of the game, wild card of the game in general, I think, at this point, with what this hero can do, especially once he gets that Ag Shard. But we'll have to see, because I feel like FCR might just pop somebody. Not a B-God techies, but could be something fearsome that 5RAT have to be careful of, especially if he ever stops showing on the map. I don't know, we've seen so many techies just wind up in lanes they're not supposed to be in, and then making things happen, especially I think in the mid lane, where of course all it takes is a toss back, and then there you go, dead hero. But there we go, we get our pause.
An
Door has been
absolute
said.
classic. Pause for Door. Actually, pause for DC now too, because HFN did drop out. So, well, a little bit of both. We get Door and we get a DC at the start of the game. That's a bit of a rare one.
I'll be honest, I think AB1 was joking, but we'll see.
Don't take
Once
this.
the
Don't take this from me. I need this. Don't do it.
once
Let me dream.
the GWRs come out. But
Another DC though, unfortunately, as FCR drops out as well. So having some difficulties on the SA side of this, but again, hopefully this is a fast one. Because if not, this is going to be potentially 2 days that Wolf Team have had to struggle with this, and just sort of start to feel for them at that stage, because it's kind of terrible, right? I mean, if you lose a game, fine, you lose a game, but if you're struggling because you have connection issues, that just feels bad for everybody involved.
hey, as long as it's not Suits, I don't care. Hopefully they can get back in here. He's been the only I think you used the term irrecoverable player, where it was just impossible, despite everything and all attempts for him to fix his connection issues. But fingers crossed here for the boys. But we'll have to see, because they're gonna have to have some pretty stellar performances as well. And with that, double reconnect comes through, UWR, and there we go.
All right, back into the game, and now I get a chance to ask you about the lane setup here, ET, on that 5RAT side. Speed and Merlin. If you're Speed, what are you looking at here in terms of the skill build? Because you could go the Axes build, but if Merlin's going to play aggressively, right, if he's going to try to roll in, then maybe having the boar for the follow-up is a little bit more valuable. What do you think?
I think getting it level 1 is probably good, just because Merlin is not going to be able to help you necessarily with range creeps unless he just wants to kick for it. So probably Axe's level 1, but then turn the build around, because of course, once you get that level 3 boar, you put so much pressure on the Disruptor that if KJ ever steps too far out of line, he just dies. You probably just want that, as well as with the Helm of the Dominator timing. As we always talk about with Medusa, Medusa needs towers and tier 1s to stand in front of to defend, and if you get them all just a little bit too quickly, then you put her out without a job. I think we'll need to see him turn the build around, but we'll put maybe some stress on the skill points, but other than that, shouldn't be too bothered. As a little bit of a fight here, but everybody disengages, and 2-2 split it is.
Yep. FCR was trying, looking to see what he could do, but at the end of the day, you don't want to get too far forward, especially Jesus, that laugh. Especially considering FCR in the previous game on the Snapfire did have some of those scenarios in the early stages where he was just maybe a step or two too far forward, and he got punished pretty heavily. Of course, he's not going up against the tri-lane this time, but I think the lesson kind of sticks in his mind a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And don't want to end up in that awkward situation again, but have to see.
FCR is going pretty hard here with the right clicks, though. Just firing away, throwing the bombs in, just trying to create space for King RD, but yeah, that's a Crystal Maiden on the other side. So as much damage as you're dishing out, CM is presumably going to be able to match you in just about every case. As Speed gets taken down top lane, oh, that's why that happens. Okay. Point in the snake instead of the shield early, so HFN had a little bit of extra damage to throw in there, and, well, I don't think the Beastmaster saw that one coming. Just gets completely punished by it, and Merlin can't really help him.
Man, he uses quite a lot of his mana, and HFN also using quite a bit of mana, but one of the age-old benefits of that Disruptor, you are just obnoxious in the trades, and Merlin, until he's level 2, can't do the Rolling Boulder, can't really do too much. And they are, again, just gunning for speed, but it's where I do think you need to be maybe a little bit careful if you're on Wolf Team, because again, level 2, and then suddenly, yeah, well, Merlin's here, he's ready to game. Does miss the kick on the KJ, though. I don't know, I feel like they could have just turned around and gotten the Disruptor, but instead they just decided to pull the wave back, which just means Speed is going to continue to get right-clicked.
Problem here is that
It's getting a little weird.
Speed only just hit level 2. Everyone else in their lane had reached it first, so they didn't have the boar for Merlin to really sort of team up with, and that kind of changed the timing to the point where now, yeah, everything looks exceptionally strange, but there's going to be the roll-in. They do get onto the Deucer, they're going to find the first kill. Now they're looking for KJ as well, and I do not believe the Disruptor makes it out of this. Fairy Fire buys him time, though, and everyone just kind of walked away from him. So KJ...
He's gotta die.
Yeah, he's just going to the tower at this point, but there's the roll. Gonna connect. Merlin still has it. Eventually. There we go. Merlin gets the job done. Do want to point out, while all that went down, there was a kill down bot. AB1 gets taken out. King RD finds the kill, so that leaves us tied up at 2-2, but ET, these side lanes not backing down from these early engagements.
No, definitely not, and really, it's just the beginning of many, of course. Killing CM is always just a little bit sour, though, because, of course, he comes back with full mana. He's just got even more spells to do to you. Never really the most fun situation, but that's where, again, the damage potential in this bottom lane for Wolf Team is massive. You have Techie's Primal Beast. You will be able to kill these heroes quite easily if they ever step too far forward, and without getting control over that small camp, just now he's going to do it, but hasn't had it so far. But KJ, oh, he's so close to death, but one more boar hit wasn't able to connect. Instead, he'll just salve up.
Close call there, but he's able to walk away. Not going to get the full duration on that salve, though, as the axes do fly through, so that's a nifty play from Speed. Now Merlin, he's going to try to hit up HFN here. Got him with the slow, but, well, Mana Shield still a pretty good spell there. Able to absorb a lot of that damage, and Speed, he knows if he goes too far forward, something like this is going to happen to him. He gets hit pretty hard there, and I don't know if it's enough to kill him. Well, it is if he can do that. Glimpse pulls him back. KJ gets the kill. It is going to cost him his life, but I think you're okay with that so long as HFN stays safe here. Although HFN might just look for a kill. Merlin's going to roll in. Yeah, that's not going to go your way as HFN just cleans up a couple, and well, the fighting continues up top. Wolf Team able to get the better of that one.
Yeah, and as we always talk about, at least we got a soul kill. But just means that now the Medusa gets levels, and you get to possibly look for that early rotate out of the lane if things do start to go poorly for you. But then you can just get KJ coming back in, full mana, 2 points up in the Thunderstrike. This lane continues to be incredibly obnoxious to deal with. At least Speed has a Helm of Iron Will, but outside of the lane, yeah, drag back again. Oh, it's so obnoxious.
No.
And no punish either, because they know that they just refilled, probably just calm that the Earth Spirit TP'd mid to fill up the bottle of the Lena, so his lane gets a little bit better, but the pressure, even the kickback, this shouldn't matter, because they've got creeps under the tower. Just all this damage that Speed just has to eat.
It's a very nice play from Merlin, but as you say, they were set up in a position where they weren't going to get punished, even with that kickback, so Wolf Team really going at it in this lane, and I think the important thing to note here, Yeah, they've been doing a fair bit of early fighting, but you look at the last hit count, 31-6 still for HFN. So this aggression has not come at the expense of his farming opportunities, although now he might be in some trouble. He's just going to look for the straight TP home. He does make it out this time around. Meanwhile, speaking of heroes under towers, that's AB1 getting completely jumped on under his own tier 1, and DNM, now he's got to be a little bit careful. These heroes still aren't taking tower shots, so they're going to try and track onto him, but spells are kind of at a premium right now. They're going to go for it anyway, however. There's going to be the blast off, but he's got to hit an onslaught here, and even then it's going to be kind of iffy, but they're going to try for it. The aim is not quite there. Not able to get the connection, but DNM just has to keep on running. And he's not going to make it out. King RD with that extra attack damage is able to find the kill.
Yeah, and even looking over at the levels, it's sad. You've been sapping quite a bit there with the Crystal Maiden. You haven't really been able to step outside of the lane for too long, just, again, mainly because of the threat, which means that Lark doesn't have his Shadow Dance, doesn't get any additional regen. It's kind of unfortunate, and, well, KJ gets picked off in the top lane.
Yeah, and try for HFN as well. Mana Shield's on, but he doesn't have a whole lot of mana to work with. These blocks are fantastic, and I think they're going to get it. Merlin may have to give himself up for it, but it's going to be worthwhile.
Yeah, and importantly, get the kill before you actually get any of that XP. So HFN ends up really with nothing out of that trade, and with that, Speed is only a few hundred gold away from his home with the Dominator, and then that Beastmaster hits that stabilization point where you can't really be forced out anymore.
He's going to have Helm of the Dominator. He's going to have Roar in a little bit as well, as he is closing in on level 6. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Suits. This is getting a little awkward. Tries to chase under the tower. Tree grab, or tree throw, is going to be enough damage. Is that? That's only level 1, but it still gets the... Oh, yeah, that's right. I was trying to do the math, and it wasn't working out.
He's got the tiny set on that kind of hides the DD. Your model is just slightly bigger than the actual effect is, so you just have this tiny blue trail, which is kind of scary looking, but isn't really all too noticeable. But yeah, so that was a pretty heavy tree that got thrown at Kits there.
Big kill for Suits. Very important as well, because Suits has received 0 help. No gank, no bottle refill even. He's just been left alone here while the supports have been dealing with their own lanes, and he still finds a kill. You take a look at the net worth. He's still 150, 200 behind that Lina, but that kill sort of helps to close the gap, and you can see he's already working towards that Blink Dagger. And if Zeus can get that at decent timing, you're going to be able to do quite a bit. As what's going on here in the river. Fight for the rune that doesn't even spawn there, but they might still be able to find a kill. There's the Avalanche. There's going to be the toss. Cancels out the roll, and Merlin will go down. KJ does kind of yoink the kill from his teammate, but the most important aspect there is that they do secure the kill, because it was not really guaranteed until the very end.
Yeah, and with the techie sitting on the bottom rune, Suits actually is able to get up that Invis rune.
RD, yeah.
Yeah, that was a little bit funky on the minimap there, and now well, you're kind of tapped, but this is also just him pressing his advantage. He knows that the Slark is not level 6 yet, but
here comes another TP, though. Roll. Connection is going to be there. They've got the damage, or at least they should. This King RD is going to go down. There it is. DNM gets the kill. Now FCR, you might want to get out of here, but the roll's back up in 2. Merlin just needs the angle. That certainly helps to get the root down. There is going to be Zeus coming in to try and make something happen with the Avatos. If he is able to clean up 2, can he get Merlin as well? Magnetize has been dropped onto him, so he's got to be a little bit careful with that damage, but looks like he's just going to walk away. But ET, that really kind of equalizes that play quite nicely.
No, it definitely does. You already didn't have that much HP on the Primal Beast, so dying doesn't feel too bad, but giving a double kill over to Suits, that Blink Dagger gets closer and closer. It's probably going to be about an 11 or 12 minute blink, and then suddenly you have to be so careful, because he's just going to play almost like a 4 position, where he's just looking for those backline kills constantly. And you can never be too careful here, especially with the techies. A lot of kills that might be out of range would just suddenly be a kill for you, but again, still has to finish it. Can't get too ahead of ourselves here, and they're actually smoked up on 5RAT's side. Trying to go up towards that top lane, maybe look for the Medusa, but HFN's already rotated into the stacks, and HFN is level 8. He is actually huge right now, even though Of course, had that one ugly death, but he's recovered quite nicely. And again, the Disruptor leaving him alone. He gets the solo XP, he gets the stacks, he gets all of the benefits, and then he'll probably rotate out to defend that mid tower as we get closer and closer to that tiny blink. Everything's just kind of going according to plan right now for Wolf Team.
And they're looking pretty damn good here in the early going, and if you're 5RAT, you had a bit of a choice to make there, and it looks like they are making it. You come up top, there's no Medusa to be seen, so you know she's fallen back into the jungle to farm. She really can't be anywhere else. But rather than go looking for her, they try to take advantage of this creep wave and get some damage onto the tower, but the scan does reveal heroes coming over, and Sooths might actually be the one jumped in on here. Does Speed have Roar? He does, but they're going to go in with the roll first. Sooths in some trouble. There's the Roar coming through, but it actually was onto an illusion, so Sooths only get pushed back, not stunned. And this fight's going to get very awkward. Kits dropped low, got the Laguna in for the kill onto KJ first, so they at least get something out of this, but it's very ugly in terms of the fight. Merlin should be falling here as well, as HFN grabs the double. At the same time, over in the bottom lane, they got onto DNM. They take him down. King RD stomps his way onto AB1 as well, and Wolf Team turn a 4-for-1 across the entire map.
Oh, that is super unfortunate. And okay, DNM's actually right back onto King RD back bottom, but more damage, and there's the silence coming through, so now you got over spells, and yeah, well, that's your Slark lane for you.
I mean, it goes the exact way that you sort of laid it out, ET, right? You get hit up, you're not safe, the trample still just destroys you, and that's DNM, the classic die, TP, die. Now his lane is just gone entirely.
Yeah, no, it feels real trash, but that's why this Techies pick was such a good option for Wolf Team, and Wolf Team are just casually 6k up 12 minutes into this game. Like, they have just gotten so much farm, and King RD, you know, you'd say it was close, but 6,400 net worth to DNM's 3,000. I mean,
yeah, that's, I didn't really look at that until just now. That's nasty. Suits? Speaking of nasty, he doesn't really have a plan to get out of that one. A Laguna Blade to the face finishes him off, and they'll claw a little bit of that money back on the 5RAT side. But ET, what a role reversal, right? I mean, game one,
yeah,
it was the exact opposite scenario, and, you know, maybe Primal Beast is worthy of garnering some more bans coming back in again.
you have to fear the beast. It's just a simple fact of Dota right now. And yeah, Zeus does get punished. He actually just straight up didn't heal at all from the play all the way back when top, when things looked pretty good, but just walks mid, gets punished on the rune, yeah, whatever. Doesn't fix the Primal Beast issue. And that also doesn't fix what's going to happen to Kits as soon as we do eventually see that Primal Beast rotate towards mid. Right now, if they want to make that play a little bit earlier, they would have to smoke the Primal Beast out of bottom, something that KJ doesn't have in his inventory just yet, neither does the Techies, but they are looking for those engagements, and got a pretty nice ward as well placed over here. Of course, the NM, you are Slark, you do know when you're in underneath vision, so you will be able to maybe get some cheeky D wards going every once in a while here, but aside from that, Wolf Team do want to get more pressure onto this mid-tier 1 tower. There's something that Delina naturally does by nuking him the wave so quickly, but as soon as that tower does become under threat, HFN will rotate, and again, Medusa so naturally becomes that mid-tower defender, but they're actually smoking without King RD right now. They leave the Primal Beast bottom, he nukes in the wave, somebody has to show here, and they're looking actually for the Beastmaster. Very smart rotation. I think Speed looks pretty dead here. Primal Beast is coming in early, but don't think there's many ways that this, Beastmaster can walk out of this one.
He's straight up stuck, and that is a full team effort. All 5 heroes in, and now, well, there's a DD rune here. Can King RD actually protect it? No, we can't. Kits is going to get it. Can he actually catch up? No onslaught for 2 seconds, but with the teammates coming in, they just need the vision. Yep, there's the glimpse, and Kits is in trouble. Not even close to the BKB as of yet, so there's no way out of that. And Wolf Team, well, this is why they grouped up in that jungle, right? They take the fight, they find the picks. Now they're set up for an easy push onto this tower. I was gonna say, you know, maybe they look to the Roche pit, although we're 15 minutes in. What was that, HFN?
You know, the thing is, I would say maybe a misclick, but he has done this 2 or 3 times already in this game. He's just using it to walk around the map. And of course, he's getting pinged out. They know you don't have this spell, HFN. Hopefully this doesn't end up being a
Oh
mistake, but
man,
he also got the
DNM's
perfect camp.
getting the business though right now. He needs to be kind of careful himself. His HP is starting to drop while the fight did go down mid. Merlin and Speed will get taken down, but eventually HFN loses the mana shield. He does need help. Freezing Field coming in. I don't understand anymore. HFN uses his ult for the speed boost, then gets caught, sticks around thinking he's going to win that fight easy, and then does not win the fight at all. I suppose the kills in the middle lane still go a long way towards balancing that out, but yeah, everything about that just was very strange from HFN.
Yeah, no, it screamed wrong, but the pressure from the rest of the lineup is still going to be there. They're still making quite a few of these plays, and King RD has BKB. He's pretty far up in the top lane, and he's going to get roared, actually. Used it in the previous fight, so he's underneath very little threat here. And actually, Kits, you're the one that has to be careful as the lineup connects, and this is just unfortunate.
Still no BKB for the Lina, so he's going to get taken down. Merlin is trying to roll away, but not able to make it out either. KJ picks up the kill. Speed was able to fall back, but he can't do anything. Still 20 seconds for that roar. King RD kind of gets away with one there. Basically just baits for his teammates, and it all goes pretty well. And now Kits, I mean, this BKB can't come soon enough. He's just getting bullied.
Yeah, no, it does not feel like this is exactly what they want to do, but this is also where the lineup gets really stressed. If that Beastmaster can't safely push into top wave, then you don't get anybody weaving, and well, mid, maybe one, that's just a dead hero, but without that Beastmaster connecting on any of these lanes, it puts pressure on mid, because Wolf Team don't need to bat an eye. They don't need to worry about any split push. It's where maybe in the next minute or so, we'll see Speed actually be able to get some of that pressure, but in the meantime, Kits has nowhere to farm. They also need to get this D ward out of their triangle, otherwise the triangle will remain unused, and nobody's farming it. DNM's not utilizing it. Kits can utilize it, but he's so afraid of getting picked off here. And, well, with the techies, gotta be careful. And instead, they just go for Merlin instead. Yeah, free kill. Nothing they can do there. They will ping the high ground, so yeah, they know there's a ward, but the problem isn't that there's a ward there. The problem is that maybe one can't walk up to kill it, because he's just another hero that will die.
In the meantime, King RD just kind of goes over and hits DNM with the Pulverize. Not really anything that can come of that, but lets him know, hey, we still know you're down here. You know, we've got the vision. Slow up the farming rate a little bit, and all the while, Zeus was able to get in there, start stealing away some of those camps. FCR. Is he going to mine this? Is he just going to actually set a trap here when someone tries to come for the D ward? Because as of right now, he hasn't actually thrown any of those proximity mines down, but continues to hang out in the area. In the meantime, King RD pops the BKB, jumps in, Pulverize in onto the Lina. Where's the rest of the team, though? He might just be able to do it himself. Trample comes in. That's a bit of an awkward glimpse, but they're still going to be able to find that pick, and now things get awkward. AB1 tried to channel the ult, but he gets the Static Storm dropped on his head. He will fall. Merlin goes down, or went down a moment before. And 5RAT really just can't seem to steer clear of their opponents right now, including Speed, who's about to get jumped in on. He has no idea this is coming. There's going to be Zeus making the first move. HFN pops a Stone Gaze. A little preemptive, but it's still going to work, and they will find yet another pickoff.
Yeah, they're just finding the right balance everywhere. And whenever the Beastmaster tries to get any play going up top, then HFN simply walks over there and mantas out the wave that he's trying to push in. Then they push into their own jungle thinking that somebody's going to be trying to kill Speed, but no, Wolf Team don't make the casual mistake, and well, now HFN is situated here. He is not going to leave the triangle. He's going to manta out top, and again, unless you can somehow get Speed situated up there, the farm is going to cease. 5RAT are almost with their backs up against the wall. They need to make a fight happen, and well, Suits, oh, Merlin's trying to get him, but there's no magnetize. They are really low in damage here, as well as there's the punish. You cannot run away from Disruptor like this, and another kill that's just going to be fed away, and as soon as they see that, well, free damage onto the tier 2. They also know the Beastmaster showing top yet again here, and all they have to do is cut his wave, and then top tier 2 is also going to be under threat pretty soon here. And Speedy places his own ward to see the heroes coming to kill him, but Wolf Team have just hit an immeasurable power spike. There's just nothing you can do. No matter what DNM finds bottom, and he's scrambling for another item Aghanim Scepter might change a little bit for you, but you could still just die at Techi's Primal Beast. It's where, unfortunately, the BKB timings, you're not seeing that same power spike from 5RAT in really any way. And you're playing versus a Medusa, who is continuously just farming, who is not slowing up anytime soon here. As Speed, it's daytime, they're going to start pinging you out, and, well, might kill Disruptor. They need the Tiny, but no way, Cage is so farmed.
Oh, no.
It's not dying.
Drops a Static Storm. That wasn't even his Force Staff. That was HFN using Hurricane Pike on his teammate. So, well, HFN making the team play there. Meanwhile, AB1 gets taken down elsewhere on the map, and it looks like Merlin at least makes it home, but that means DNM's kind of stuck in the middle of this. Do they try to punish him? There's going to be the toss back into the Onslaught, into the Avalanche, but yeah, they can't really lock him down anymore. King RD, though, still trying. All right. Blink Trample was worth a shot, but they're not going to be able to find that kill, but they're still pushing their opponents back, right? They find these picks. They've got 2 creep waves coming in mid as Merlin. That is very aggressive. But if they could find King RD, maybe this works. Merlin, though, does get taken down. Kits is going to get glimpsed away from the fight, and looks like Wolf Team are just going to back it off.
Maybe one was going to get a freeze here, but okay, finally, the D-Ward comes through. This ward doesn't survive, but neither does AB1.
His life given for the D-Ward. Kits denied the tier 1, or tier 2 tower, rather, excuse me, so at least they don't give up too much gold. Meanwhile, the Lina gets a BKB, so there are some silver linings here for 5RAT, but they're few and far between compared to a Wolf Team lineup BT that's just knocking on the door, really. They're going to take another tier 2, so it's going to be high ground pushes in those 2 lanes moving forward.
No, it's it's rough. It's not fun, and of course, Wolf Team, they can't get the ultimate lead just yet. They won't be able to get an Aegis on HFN until maybe he finishes this butterfly, but no, everything is just at a blistering speed right now. Maybe with the DD rune, actually, they could attempt it. Still a little bit risky, I'd say, but Suits just decides to bottle it up instead, and of course, DD Tiny with the Echo Saber. Anybody could just die, especially Kits, if that somehow ends up being the connection. And you even see Speed. He has decided to give up on top. He can't play on that side of the map, so instead he's farming his opponent's Ancients, which makes sense. They're not there. They're going to do something else, but here we go. Butterfly finished. Do you just go into the pit and Roche? Well, there's two dinosaurs in the pit.
Oh! Wait.
I've never seen that before. Yeah, he just punches Roach.
That's a cool animation. How did we not know about that? All right, I see you, King RD.
Has anybody ever pulverized Roach in any of the? I don't know. I've never seen that before, but okay. I mean, Primal Beast just goes into a fist fight with Roshan. Sure.
Oh, looking for a normal fight here in the bottom lane as the Techies jumps in. BKB, though, from Kits is going to keep him safe. And now they're going to turn their attention in on Suits, but Static Storm's going to sort of break that up a little bit. Speed, however, able to get in, drops the Roar. King RD starting to drop, and now HFN gets into the fight. Stone Gaze active. AB1 trying to channel out the freezing field, doing a decent bit of damage, but it's not enough to save his teammates. 3 go down on the side of 5RAT. DNM is on the run, trying to somehow get away. King RD, though, you don't have a lot of health here. He's just trying to keep him in position, though, and it did work. DNM jumped back with the pounce, so now it's not available.
He can't TP because of Avalanche, so he has to kind of fight. But, okay, now he can just go for the TP if he wants to. But
now he wants kills.
Oh, DNM.
You greedy, greedy boy. It is a kill. You can't deny him that, ET, but it's not really worth it.
Yeah, and maybe the timing, you argue there that he would have just gotten tossed. Maybe it was 0.25 seconds too long, but yeah, unfortunate. That felt like a really good play from 5RAT, just making the punish because, of course, Wolf Team, they were all top. They just got the Aegis. But then Wolf Team say, no, we just bring everybody. This is not going to be the mistake that you think it is. This is not a 3-on-3 situation. This is a 3-on-5 situation, and we're going to kill everybody. So they do, because they can, because they are still in quite the deadly position here. As Kits gets pinged out a little bit, but I feel like they can't necessarily close the distance here, even though Merlin, I feel like that's a much easier kill. I think Merlin knows what's up here, and yeah, with the mine popping, with the Hawk going, they know they're under vision.
Just going to play it safe and back off. The problem with that is that HFN is going to be the human battering ram in the bottom lane. looking for that final tier 2 tower, and yeah, he's got a fair bit of attack range there as well. So if anyone from 5RAT wants to catch him, they need a long, long wrap around. They are kind of trying to make that happen. The problem is, they're going to run into Wolf Team, but they do have the jump. KJ's going to get immediately hit up, stun into the kill. They want more. Techie's caught. LSA stuns him up. Laguna Blade's there to finish. Now they want Zeus. Roll forward, stunning him. Magnetize onto the Tiny. No BKB completed, so he has no way out. That goes spectacularly. HFN, okay, fine. He finds AB1 there in the jungle, but you trade that out every single time. 3 for 1. I guess they don't... Actually, they do save their tier 2 tower down bot. HFN didn't even finish that, so very nicely done by 5RAT.
Yeah, and even though the fight recount doesn't necessarily show it because it was just focused on bottom, but you get a godlike spree into Kits' hands. They take a very nice positional advantage, and I like this. They've just completely decided to switch up the area that they're playing in. They allow a new avenue for Speed to play in, and everything just kind of pans out for them. And Wolf Team, of course, they can very simply just smoke and then make that play, and then it feels a lot more clever and a lot simpler, but with them just waltzing into their opponent's vision, not really appraising the threat that really 5RAT could actually force on them. And of course, HFN is free, and right now he is just hitting into DNM, but DNM with the Ags, that's just getting 12 Essence Shift stacks, getting back out, moving back in. It's just where the longer this goes, and the push is pretty annoying for you to deal with, and with Glyph, you have to be very careful here, but DNM can look for that fight, just needs to still watch out for those silences coming through. That's the easy way for him to die here, but this is Wolf Team's moment to either just straight up win the game or kind of lose here. And they did just see AB1, well, glimmered, but...
Okay, they get the root, they get the silence, but they're falling back. They are going to pop that Glyph again, and will that be enough? DNM's trying to find some sort of wraparound play. Kits, he's coming in, and he does have an MKB, so there is some potential that they maybe break through HFN, but you have to do it twice. He's still got a minute on this Aegis timer. Sue says, nope. Gonna catch him out. There's gonna be the toss back that forces the BKB, and now Kits has no play to make whatsoever. He's just gotta fall back.
Yeah, and well, a little bit of a punish. Without the Scotty on HFN, if that was a Scotty Medusa, you are dead on Lena. But because he doesn't have it, he's not that slowed. He's able to walk that one out, and with 40 seconds now gone on the Aegis, the Wolf Team, they don't really want to go back, but they're underneath complete Hawk vision. Their mid wave is shattered. Speed has just got this wave all the way in. So they don't have an easy way onto the next objective, and now this game is going to slow down to an absolute crawl, but I think 5RAT, with the items they've been able to pick up on the top end of their cores, I feel like they're kind of happy with the circumstance. Really, 1 Rax for Aegis and a whole lot of Wolf Team's time is not a bad trade in the slightest.
There is that Scotty, though, now getting picked up by HFN, so...
Yeah.
He's got it in hand. That same scenario may not play out in a favorable way for 5RAT in the future, but... Now, what is going on here? Speed acting as the bait, but with Zeus here, this is a lot of damage, and Speed may not actually be able to do anything. He didn't get the roar off, and it's well, it's a bit of a rough one. I don't know. If you go for the earlier roar, it may not be well-timed or well-placed, but if you wait, he didn't get it off at all. Oh, Zeus, he got clipped by the LSA. Laguna Blade's going to come in. Tossback won't be enough, and Kits finds the pick-off, so... Well, that's going to be a worthwhile trade in retrospect, but now... Yeah, Wolf Team, look at them. Immediately. Shift over to the west. Let's regroup on this high ground and kind of wait things out. But by waiting it out, ET5RAT have a little bit more time to farm.
Yeah, and I think very importantly, you're closing in on that BKB for the Slark, where he can actually just sit there and not have to worry about Static Storm, doesn't need to mind KJ in the slightest. It's a very scary situation to be in. Of course, HFN brings us back to reality, but on the back line, well, there you go. He's on the techies. Gotta be careful of that Static Storm, but still bobbing and weaving it. There's the glimpse, though.
Okay. The Merlin is just trapped right in the middle of all of this. He is going to get taken down, but he allows DNM to reposition. They got the root from the Hawk in there, but they need this kill. They're going to go onto the Dusa. Can they burn through it fast enough? Static Storm is very much off the mark. Now AB1 channeling out the ult. That's going to burn through a lot of this. HFN trying to make his retreat, but the LSA is going to lock him down. KJ falls. Dusa dead as well. Meanwhile, on the back line, they're going to kick the... Oh my god. They're going to kick the King RD Primal Beast back into the fight, and Kits cleans it up.
No, huge timing. Just overstayed their welcome, and now Suits respawns, says, guys, I'm dead. I've been dead for 45 seconds. What are we doing here? And you have just fed so much gold. And again, so much time to 5RAT, who are now, they're queuing up the big items. They're going to
Mm.
close the distance, and that's where these matchups, you're going to start seeing them in motion, where the Lina just becomes too big. You get a Daedalus, you get a Hurricane Pike, you suddenly can't approach the high ground, and again, BKB almost done on the Slark, and then suddenly DNM is just going to kill both of your supports. I don't know. I think Wolf Team, again, they still have a lot to play for it, especially once that Roshan is alive. They will have another easy objective to force 5RAT into that team fight that they might not be ready for just yet, but their easy victory is gone. Their first Aegis, I don't know if it was necessarily enough, but just just bought enough time, honestly, because, yeah, double BKB coming out. Still waiting to see what we see from Kits, but I think it's just going to be a full Silver Edge, and yeah, I don't know. 5RAT, they've turned this game on its head.
And Kit's just got the Fiery Soul upgrade with the level 20 talent, so this is truly going to turn into Machine Gun Lina, and well, we've seen in the past, ET, just how singularly powerful that late game Lina can be. She can win a fight by herself if you don't lock her down, so Wolf Team have to be so unbelievably cautious. They've had so much net worth chopped off this lead. They've given up multiple opportunities. We still have 2.5 minutes for the Roche respawn, as that is going to be just about the longest timer possible. So now, if you're Wolf Team, well, if we go in, we might lose the fight. If we wait for Roche, then we give them more time to farm, and you might still lose the fight around the pit. That's not a guarantee anymore either. So this is getting very, very risky, and look at 5RAT. They say, you know what, we want to force it right now. 4-man smoke.
Oh, gotta be super cautious with how this breaks out. Of course, they need to look at that high ground, and there's the sentry place, there's the obs place.
The Roar, it's going to stop the Pulverize. They're going to just take down King RD right away. First kill in the books. Now DNM trying to push onto that backline. Wants to punish KJ. Not going to be able to reach him, though, because HFN is just sort of acting as that goalkeeper, but it does force the retreat out of Wolf Team. They've lost 2. The roll forward. HFN stunned up. Laguna's there. They get through a little bit of that shield. Now the silence comes in. There's the Manta, but AB1 channeling the ult. That's going to force out the Stone Gaze. But look at the damage Zeus is taking. He has to fall back. He is going to eventually get away. DNM?
Oh, what a toss.
He thought he was going to get out with the pounce, but the toss is going to finish him off. HFN's the one to get the kill. Now cleans up a third onto speed, and oh boy, ET, that was looking so good for 5RAT, but they get a little bit too greedy there, trying to go in for HFN maybe the second or third time in that fight, and that's the one that really gets them.
Yeah, they just lose track of the Manta timing. That it gets blown completely wide open because the geomagnetic grip just isn't there. You aren't able to silence the Zeus. If that Stone Gaze doesn't get off, she probably does just die. But that's also Zeus getting his BKB, just flowing on the courier, USPS priority mail, and then suddenly you have a Tiny who is actually able to sit there and fight and was not getting chipped nearly as fast enough from that Monkey King bar if the damage was just not bleeding through. It's where simply for 5RAT, I like that they're gunning for kills. I like the confidence, but you let them walk away, you would have been so much happier with that exchange. And now you forfeit all of this map right before Roche respawns. It's not that they can even know about that, but now we're going to have to see them forced into another smoke because they need to get information on the pit. They cannot really afford to give another Aegis over to Wolf Team. Otherwise, I think they still have quite the strong tower defense, but it's just going to be that awkward spot where you have that much more to play with. And HFN starts the Roche, and looking at 5RAT, here's going to be your 5-man smoke. They know it. It's time. It's dying so fast, though.
Just finished off and delivered to HFN, so he does a lot more damage now. Will they get here in time? They've got to go now.
Hawk in.
Somebody's got to make the move. There's going to be DNM into the pit. Can he get it? No, he can't. HFN grabs the Aegis. DNM, I think he grabbed a shard here, but that's not important. What's important is the fight, and it's a fight that DNM can't be involved in. He has to fall back because he ran out of HP, so that means they're going to get directly in onto the rest of the lineup, locking down speed, locking down AB1. Kit's now fighting by himself. He's able to take down 1 or 2, but how does he get away? Maybe he doesn't. He's going to get tossed back, stuck in with HFN. Right-clicks kill off KJ as he goes down, but that's still the Lina gone, and buyback is unavailable for Kits.
Yeah, and now, well, Suits can just be the bodyguard. He's got the gem. He can just sit there with HFN, and they're just going to go up. They don't have to care about you right now, and unless the Lina does buy back, and she can't, well, this is just at least going to be a free mid set of racks. Don't think you can do much about that, but maybe they get something out of speed here, but I feel like the Beastmaster as well can't really do that much. He's got Roar in 4 seconds, but they just don't have enough damage between them. And okay, DNM, he's prodding, and there's the Roar. You need to keep HFN locked down for so long, though.
Speed, there we go. Eventually the Roar comes out, but at this point, I don't know if it's enough. Merlin's going to roll in, so they do have another stun into the root. They are slowly but surely working through the Dusa.
Time to go, though.
Yeah, they can't do that a second time, but Sue says, nope, back in you go. DNM, tossed back. He's going to have to jump away. He jumps into FCR, though, but okay. It's going to be all right. FCR can't catch up. DNM should be all right. Starts to heal immediately. And 5RAT, that's the play that you needed. It's not glamorous, but you had to get through that first life. The question is, do they now have the means to go onto him again? Because they used a lot of their ults to do that.
No, they have to trade, and it's not a bad trade. That is the Aegis gone. This is an opportunity where you can just straight up kill the Medusa and probably win the game for yourselves, or at least, again, buy you more time. So 5RAT get a reset for what is a very cheap set of racks. But this also means that there's only one set of racks left to play with. I think it was an exchange that 5RAT are happy for now, but BKB just finished on the Medusa as well. This could blow wide open a team fight if they don't scout it. Also just got the 25 for HFN, so if you are stuck in this fight, you are just going to be trapped by that Scotty unless you're the Slark, but we'll have to see, because third smoke in a row from 5RAT. They keep on ramming their heads against their opponents in suits. The blink.
He's able to get away for now. HFN, meanwhile, just going to kind of lumber his way over. Not very fast on this Dusa, but still looking for something. That forced out a BKB there. Merlin had to use it. I think he was afraid of the glimpse sort of pulling him back, so that is going to be down for a little bit. And now 5RAT are outside of their own base, and Wolf Team, they sense an opening. They're going to push their way through. Final lane of racks being threatened. Not very quickly, but HFN doesn't have to be quick because nobody's coming to stop him.
No, this is just inevitable and a punish of not having that glyph from before, and here we go. 5RAT have to make a move. They have to bat an eye here. I don't think they can just lead with Roar, though. They want to get a counter initiation on a King RD, and then that's the ideal way for them to start a fight, but it's just so much they have to give, and they don't care about the range racks necessarily here, but
Good Merlin.
the angle.
They try to go in. There's the Roar. DNM activates the BKB. The Static Storm does get deployed, though. This is going to be a little bit of an awkward fight. They have split up Wolf Team a little bit, but if DNM can't actually stay safe, it's not going to matter, as the Glimpse is going to pull him all the way back. They're trying to reset onto him, but look at Kits getting into the fight, but he's not winning. He can't actually beat HFN. He's just going to get taken down. And this one's going to start to fall apart. AB1 taken down, buying back immediately. Speed, TP canceled, finished off as well. And, well, you had both DNM and Kits hitting onto that Medusa, but they just didn't have enough.
No, they've kind of blow their opportunity there. There just simply wasn't enough for them to actually get really Wolf Team to bat an eye here. And they're trying, but their Megas, HFN is hitting the buildings. This is kind of just desperation at this point. Neither course have buyback. This is just a game, but a game of what-ifs for 5RAT, as it feels like a few of their games have become like that, and now they don't have ultimate safety, but okay, DNM's trying. He's running around. He's being a little monkey, you know, dancing, saying, trying to kill me, but I think with that, DNM, he's running further and further away from the Ancient. He's getting tossed away from the Ancient, as a matter of fact, and yeah, that's the game.
Okay, King RD. They get it anyway. He E-bladed his Deuce at the end there, just trolling his teammate a little bit, but at that point you can afford to do that because you know you have the game very much in hand at this point, as Wolf Team put together a very, very valuable 1-1 split. We were talking about it really coming into the draft, ET. It's not just about the 1 point for Wolf Team. It's now capping the absolute limits of where 5RAT could get themselves to because they don't have any more games to play.
Yeah, and not just that. You look at Wolf Team's next opponents, namely being 5-Man Midas and Dog Champ, and you say, well, things could get real close for 5RAT, and you hate to not be, you know, in that bracket position where you have agency, where you have to wait for other people to mess up first, but now we do have a little bit of a question mark for 5RAT, but it has also been fun seeing their new roster play out, seeing Merlin, again, trying to make things happen and slotting into that role that has been a little bit difficult for 5RAT to fill, but yeah, Unfortunately, HFM Medusa, it just works out too well. But especially, I think that Primal Beast lane, I think this is a big lesson. Just Slark, maybe versus Primal Beast, maybe versus Primal Beast Techies. No, unlaneable. Just a terrible
Yeah.
situation that they had to deal with. And we really just straight up couldn't. They ended up just so far behind off of that lane alone. Kind of sad, but G next, as we like to say. And we'll have to see what it looks like for them coming into the future of this bracket.
Hmm. The Wolf team with some opportunities. Meanwhile, if you're 5RAT, right, we've talked it to death. This was their final group stage series, and they're a little disappointed they don't get the 2-0, but at least you secured that 1 point. So it is still going to be unbelievably difficult to knock them out of that top 4. They should be in a pretty solid spot to try and get themselves an upper bracket position heading into the playoffs. But with that being said, that is our first series in the books here, so we are going to be moving things right on along to our next matchup. We're moving a little bit lower down the standings for this one. It's going to be Felt versus No Runes. So both of those teams looking for some points here. We'll see which one of them can sort of get the edge, as we are going to be moving into that one in just a few minutes. So for now, step away, and we'll be back with the start of the Game 1 draft.